That, my friends, is an incredible Champions League draw. I'm literally just looking through this list of teams right now and I'm like, what is going on? This is why we compete in the Champions League. This is why Liverpool want to be at this very top table. Real Madrid, home. Inter Milan, away. Beautiful, San Siro. Atletico Madrid, home. Frankfurt, away. Ekitike. PSV, tricky one, but obviously the Dutch guys returning. Marseille, interesting one. Qarabag, that's a long trip. And obviously Galatasaray. That's actually a pretty tricky finish and probably a finish amongst teams who will be looking for points at that point and trying to get into those final stages. So a very tricky Champions League draw. Obviously, my friends, it's tasty. Obviously, Trent coming back to Anfield, even though it probably will be Carvajal, is big. And it's almost pure narrative. Like if you're here for it, if you're here for narrative on this channel, do you know what I mean? It's like, that's why you come to this channel. The prodigal son of sorts. I personally think there should be somewhat of a 50% Torres, somewhat of a Robbie Fowler type return. Hey, good to see you. You're one of us. But also, into him. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, on the night we want to make him uncomfortable, and there'll be plenty of media people who are very interested in Trent in this time. But the reality in this situation is that Liverpool are playing one of Europe's premier sides. And ultimately, Trent Alexander-Arnold in the Champions League is playing for a Champions League level team. Obviously, it would mean that had Liverpool signed Isak, which, who knows whether that's going to go through, we would know that that would be Isak and Gakpo and Ekitike going at Trent. That would be Wirtz going at Trent. That would be Kerkez going at Trent. That would be Salah pre-kickoff just doing the old Lewandowski and Royce thing. It's a tasty draw. But also, so are Inter Milan, by the way. Inter Milan, very tasty. Atletico Madrid, that's a challenge. Like, we've got players on that Atletico Madrid team that we would have loved to sign at one point. Frankfurt, obviously taking away Ekitike, but they're up there. They were very good last season. They will be a decent side this season. And obviously PSV are always a bit of a power. Marseille, always an intense away one. Qarabag, obviously at home, which is good, but it's a long trip for them. And then Galatasaray away. Still probably one of the longer ones that you can do in Europe, by the way. It's still like a 4-hour flight over there, albeit private, but still a 4-hour flight over there. And so Liverpool now finding themselves in a position where we can just soak all this in. I think the real thing that hangs over me in the Champions League is last season we went for that immaculate record and then obviously had the experience against PSG. The record for that reason is kind of meaningless, or there's kind of, what does it mean now? But it was still great in the inaugural season to get that. I don't think a faultless record is vital, and obviously it isn't vital to make it through in the Champions League, but to beat teams early on obviously helps. We have a manager who is capable, and that's what's weird about this side. I don't look at any of those teams and think, boy, we're going to get walked over. I remember when we were in the Champions League with Brendan Rodgers and Real Madrid came to town, it was like, boy, are we going to get walked over. Now I look at that and I think, right, how are we going to compete with Real Madrid? Where's our formation going to be at by that point? Where are we going to be at in terms of tactical evolution? Will we have Mark Guay in the team? Will Konate be at Real Madrid at that point? All these different aspects where you look at it and think, wow, like, will he put in a Trent level performance? And then obviously you think of it and you think, we've signed people like Isak to play in the Champions League. We've signed people like Ekitike who wanted to step up permanently to the Champions League. We signed people like Wirtz to be Champions League level players. He put in a Champions League level performance against us at Anfield last year, even though we actually still end up being quite comfortable in that game. Mo Salah, still in the side, still a very Champions League level player. Virgil van Dijk, Champions League level aura. Alisson, probably one of the greatest ever goalkeepers to win the Champions League. Probably one of the greatest ever goalkeeper runs to get to that Champions League final that ultimately I think we also lost in that year. But again, the other one. He is a great goalkeeper. He's a brilliant bastion for us. And it'll be so interesting to see. I think what my main concern is the tactical matchups that we have out there. First of all, Kerkez Frimpong. We've still not settled in those wide areas. How are we going to address that? Will getting Isak in, will getting Guay in make a difference to where we're at in terms of just overall tactical adaptability, but also we were talking last season about square pegs in round holes, and that was kind of like, marginally squared pegs in round holes. This season, what we're looking at is Liverpool are going to go through a tactical evolution towards like that 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, 2 up front with Ekitike, and of course, probably Isak and then Gakpo being out there, and like there's lots of different shapes that Liverpool can make with that. It's not always going to be a 3-5-2. It depends on where we're at in terms of the game. But when we're at our most attacking, it could even be a 3-2-5. Do you know what I mean? With Wirtz in the middle, it could even be like a 3-7. It could even be a 2-1-7. There will be points where you're going to feel that way this season in the Champions League as Liverpool rain forward. But at the same time, we also hope that we never need to rain forward, and we hope that the controlled level of the game that Arne Slot is trying to bring in, and what Isak will probably bring along with Mark Gray, is that level of control. It's not even about being like, oh, we're fully in control. Controlling these areas of the pitch which have a big impact on the game. If we can dominate in midfield and Mark Gray can push up into those areas, great, we've got an extra body in there. If we can dominate up front and Isak and Ekitike can work up it's not even an old school partnership, it's a new partnership of an adaptable front line two who are both goal threats, who are both strikers of the ball, who've both got a pretty good goal record on all fronts, then what are we doing? How are we cooking? Which of these fixtures are you most worried about? Obviously Real Madrid at home, that's so tasty, and you don't want to give Trent the satisfaction of winning away at Anfield. You only want to give him the satisfaction of having won at Anfield those couple of times. Inter Milan away, San Siro is nasty, and it is certainly much harder to go to than it is to obviously play those teams away. It's a great trip, by the way. If you want to do Milan, do Milan. Atletico Madrid, those guys. Those guys are they're changing in their identity yet again. They're still a premium side. They're not of the status of Real Madrid and Barcelona, but they certainly are still a brilliant team. And then Frankfurt, it's going to be a difficult battle, as is PSV, as is Marseille. Marseille away is such a great place to go to, guys. Qarabag at home, big trip for them. Galatasaray is an intense place to go away, as Graham Souness will tell you. So let me know in the comments below what it is that you're thinking. What is it, where you're at mentally? I think at the moment we're not really able to judge where we will sit in the Champions League until we've completed the transfer window, which is obviously very close to the conclusion. Now, big weekend, so really Friday is a pretty pivotal day for both Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, all these different sides involved. And also pretty pivotal, by the way, for seeing who leaves in that time. But that's going to be a whole other video for me, probably in the members area. If you want to become a member down there, go hit that membership button, become a member. Of course, you can also contribute through being on the Patreon. That'd be fantastic if you want to do that. And then, of course, there is also the Super Chat and the free Discord down there. Go take a look at all three of those. I appreciate you guys looking in. I appreciate the community that we have here. We have 40,000 people. I want to get to 50 this year. I've just hit 100 on the other channel. Do you think we can get to 100,000? I'm catching up a lot of those other Liverpool channels on this channel. I kind of want to become, one of those people in the space that we all kind of chat with, rather than being like, oh, he's got to be the broadcast guy. But anyway, I'm enjoying watching Liverpool right now just play. I think Arsenal will be a big indicator of how we're going to do overall in the Champions League this season, in terms of how we can compete, where we can compete, physically where we're at. But I genuinely think, and as happens with most seasons, we're going to see Liverpool really do a lot of the growing post-international break. It's always a bit of a nasty one because I don't like watching players go away for that international break, but here we are. You don't want to pick up injuries, you don't want to interrupt new cycles and fitness patterns. You really just want to get that done and get out of there. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people pull out of that. I wouldn't be surprised if obviously we don't see Alexander Isak there, but let's see. And yeah, of course, it's going to be big. Real Madrid is tasty. We absolutely schooled them last year. I was there for that game. They were a non-event, and they will not turn up again like that this season. Obviously, we've played Xabi Alonso, and we've had experiences with him. Fine, I think we can deal with Alonso's style of football, but can we deal with those superstars? Can we deal with Real Madrid coming to Anfield and essentially just putting the cat amongst the pigeons? They're pretty unpleasant to have around. They're pretty unpleasant presence in most people's stadium, but I'd imagine at Liverpool in particular, where it seems like they have a meeting once a week to work out how to annoy us, this will be a particularly barbed affair. A lot going on. There are a lot. Oh my God, there's Ibrahimovic has just said that there is a deal for Isak. My God. Anyway, join me later on the channel. Join me. Do we go live? Should we go live, guys, at some point? Should we go live over the next 24 hours? Appreciate you guys watching. Here's a good one from Luke Edwards, just to finish. It's a one-liner joke. Newcastle United make breakthrough in 75 million Nick Voltmade deal, but what does it mean for Alexander Isak? As things stand, there is no money left for Newcastle to sign a second striker, but But they could sell Isak to raise it. 4 days left. Wow. If that was a tune, he would now have changed it. By the way, the meeting the other day between Isak and those reps, what I would have done to be a fly on the wall in there, eh, boys? Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you giving me your thoughts on the draw. Don't go mapping it out. We'll map it out another day. I'll be giving you tactics soon. We'll be talking about everything. We've got a long international break to come, and I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you guys. Yeah, I will see you guys later, tomorrow morning probably, and I will chat to you in a little bit. Membership, Patreon, Super Chat, and of course free Discord. I will see you guys in a while. Much love. Bye!